Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today, episode number 4 of the Distant Memories, the synthesis map, gamble, or project, however you want to call it. Last week, we've been through the park map. That was the Twisted Distant Memory park map. Good. It was last week. This league already, if you haven't followed it in the last couple of days or probably a week now, we've been through the augmented distant memory, which was the I always forget it. Dude, it doesn't matter. The augmented memory, right? Then like 2 or 3 days ago, we've been through the rewritten distant memories, was the Basilica map. And this time around, the last piece missing, actually it's 2 more maps, but from the small bosses, we have now the altered distant memory, the siege map. So there is 4 different ones, plus the end boss, plus the Cortex. Although the Cortex maps are ridiculously expensive. We talk about, I think, like 6, 7, or 8 exalts nowadays per map. So if you want to run 60 of those, you're going to have some good cash on the side. But these maps are still pretty affordable for what they actually do in terms of experience, in terms of drops. So we're going to do a 60 of the Altered Distant Memories today. And for a write-down, we have 60 of these maps by Holgi and Richman once more. Thank you very much for the support here. We have a map cost of about 75 chaos per piece. They usually start at about 60 chaos, but since I bought a bunch of those, I kind of raised the price at the moment. Then we have basically the prophecies to get them chiseled up, like every of these maps of 20 quality. The difference is usually the beautiful guide is a prophecy that I'm using here. 1 chisel will get the map to 20%. You can also just use a bunch of your chisels and just do that manually, but it's 20 per piece since it's still a unique map. Good. That leaves us with a total cost of like 4,740 chaos, which is about 25 exalts roughly for, with today's exalt exchange ratio of 1 to 187. Good. How are we going to do this? The pretty typical way. We're going to run one map together, the first map, and then we're going to split the loot into the loots tab, which is everything like maps, like every bubblegum currency, the synthesized shield and whatnot. We're going to put everything into here, and we're going to keep the rings separate. So for every ring, we're going to calculate 2 different versions. One is the bad ring. This is everything that has to do with like lightning resistance, maximum cold resistance, these rings that are probably never gonna sell unless they have the really good implicit, like onslaught on hit or whatever, like intimidate, unnerve. Like there is a bunch of implicits that this can have, also elemental weakness, flammability, all that kind of stuff. And these are the rings that are valuable or quite valuable in this part. For all the other rings, we're just going to count 5 chaos per piece because these are the rings that I vendor in the end because I don't really care about trades less than 10 chaos. So, at the end of the day, we should probably get all the 60 maps done, and we're going to calculate all of these and see how much profit we're going to make this time. For the character that I'm using this time around, it is my how did I call it, the volatile pulsar slinger. Okay, this is a necromancer using the corpse pack to get insane amounts of attack speed for consuming corpses, and then we have a spell slinger with the volatile death, and we also have a spell slinger in the desecrate. So every time I'm using a wand attack here, I choose to go with barrage. So every time I'm using barrage, I'm spawning a bunch of corpses and I'm spawning a bunch of balls. So we went from the feasting to the ball generator, which is kind of weird, but hey, it's a pretty cool character, and once you start just ramping that up, you get some ridiculous amount of attack speed, and we're probably gonna easily cap out on the maximum 60 balls at a time. So we're gonna see how this one gonna work out. There is basically 2 versions of this build that you can take into the end game. One would be the max block life-based impulsor version that I'm playing here, and the other one is the low life version with the maximum damage of volatile death. The difference is pretty easy. I would say the low life, if you have really good gear, you get about, I don't know, like 1.5 or 2 million Shaper DPS per ball, right? Means if you have your 60 balls, you probably have over 100 million Shaper DPS. But I always say, what do you need 100 million Shaper DPS for? Absolutely no reason for that. I'm currently having tooltip of like 50,000 damage here. This doesn't include any kind of penetration. This is per ball, right? And this character is at the moment not maxed yet, but as soon as I consume a corpse and I'm using my Rumi's concoction, I'm almost starting to get blocked block cap. This character is still in progress, right? I haven't gotten any medium cluster jewels yet. I'm still having my what do you call, leveling gloves on this one. I still need to craft my amulet over here. So this build is still in progress, so please don't judge it too hard for now. So we're gonna run the first map. We're gonna see how this map layout looks like. It should be a good one because siege map is a good layout. And if you're wondering how the hell can I proc the impulsor with volatile death if I'm not even shocking because I'm running elemental focus, right? The reason for that is my ascendancy. The plague bringer, was it plague bringer? No, it was corpse pact as well. Enemies near corpses you spawned recently are chilled and shocked. Chilled and shocked. That's why we can actually use the medium cluster jewel with the saddest note here, where I get a bunch of elemental damage. So I just need to hit something, and as you see, the impulsor goes off. So pretty neat and fancy character when it comes to the mapping, because in the end I just need to spawn a bunch of corpses near the targets and they will just explode through the impulsor, and that's why I love this character more than the low life version. First of all, I don't need the DPS on the low life version, and second, it has lower clear speed, because this one actually just goes really ham when it comes to the explosion and is really satisfying to play with all the MTX that I'm using over here. So let's just run through here. Basically, as I said, pretty good layout. It's a siege map, so we don't have a lot of corridors that we had in the rewritten memory and in the other like library, whatever map that was. So we basically just gonna run through here, going some left, some right. So from the layout itself, it should be not too hard, and I think here is already the boss, which means we're probably gonna end up having, I don't know, like less than a minute to clear the map, which is actually pretty nice. So here we're gonna make a safety portal, because we never know. So we're gonna proc the boss and just gonna spawn as many balls as we can. Let's see how the boss DPS looks like. So yeah, it starts to drop. It always depends on the what do you call it? There you go, shield is there. It always depends on the map modifiers as well. Sometimes you have, like, as you see, 66% more monster life. So this is actually a pretty rare stat. So the boss already had, like, easily double, more than double of each HP. So the next bosses should go down a lot faster. And this is basically it. That is the first map. Nothing too special over here. It takes like a minute or so, maybe 1.5. So I think the 60 maps should be quite easy this time around. So as I said, we're just gonna vendor all of this and we're gonna throw everything into the loots tab as always. Check this one here, probably chance to evade. No, that's actually another crap shield over here. And hey, there is just 59 maps to go. Let's take a look at the experience. I'm currently level 91 with about 38 experience. So I would say, let's say 91 and 30, because I just ran the first map. And we're gonna see after the 60 maps how much levels I got, how much experience did I get. All right, we are done with farming 60 altered distant memory siege map, and I gotta admit, this is probably the best layout of all of the 4 maps that we've done. I just think that this map has the least amount of monsters, yet still we started level 91 in the start of this project, currently level 94, so we made about 3 levels basically roughly on this project here. This time around a lot faster than the other ones, especially the one in the library with the bookshelves. I think this was the rewritten one. No, not the rewritten. The augmented was the worst one, with still an easy boss. So overall, I would say I can definitely recommend this map and the park map. These two, from my experience, were just the fastest to do and the most enjoyable, as well as the easiest bosses on top of that. Let's check the loot tab. We have like a bunch of everything like usual. We do have a lot of more stuff over here dropped in terms of maps, but this time around it's the only project here out of the 4 where I didn't have a single Exalt drop. So that's probably the reason why we still have this more loot over here, but still the same amount of currency gathered. And then we have the rings, and sadly, once more, the only good ring here was one of a Circle of Guild with the buff effect and increased physical damage, and they usually go for about 9 Exalts starting price, and this was the only good thing. One sad thing though, I had one ring, I think it was this one. No, wait, Elemental Weakness. Oh, wait, this is still in the other tab here. these two because I was kind of worried about these two things. So, rings. We have one Circle of Nostalgia with Elemental Weakness on it. So, usually Elemental Weakness goes for the big currency, right? Unless you have them on a Circle of Nostalgia with a Herald of Agony buff effect, right? And Agony Crawler damage. So, yeah, Agony Crawler is probably the only ring here, and the guild, these two that are not using Ele Weakness, right? So, if we would have the Ele Weakness on any of the Herald of Ice rings, Ash or Thunder or something like that, that could be big money here, right? But sadly, Ele Weakness on Agony doesn't really do anything here. And on top of that, for some reason, we got a shit ton of Nostalgia rings. All of these, we had like a total of 12, 13, 14 Nostalgia rings, while we only had like 4 or 5 of the other rings. Pretty much good on the guilds as well, but sadly only one time with the buff effect and the increased physical damage for the 9 exalts. Overall, not that happy with the loot outcome. This one was a little bit weird here. The shield that has 2 minimum frenzy charges as implicit, and I have no idea if this is good or not. I had it for sale for... I just put it in after I found it for like 5 exalts. I got not a single trade request, so I don't think this should be any valuable at all. Good. Let's take a look at the write-down here. As I said, started 91, now we're 94. Made a beautiful 3 levels out of that. I think this will be my basic leveling routine. So I level up a character until like level 65 or something once you kill Kitaver. Then you just run a bunch of breach stones, get easy level 80 within an hour. And then from level 80 you can basically go up to like level 91 or 92 by farming 60 of those maps. So you can basically just level up a character in one go until like 92 and usually make quite some profit out of that. So let's take a look. Loot tab, about 1,379 Chaos Orbs. For the rings, nothing too fancy. We had some mediocre Herald of Agony rings. There is a bunch of these rings. I don't know, like, I think it was Chaos damage and Agony buff effect that goes for like 90 Chaos or something like that. So we could end up having like 400 Chaos on this side. And the Herald of Purity rings with a star here with the fist damage once more. I think like out of 4 projects, I found this guy 4 times. Sadly, not with a good implicit with cast speed. It's probably not something some melee pure fist would use anyways. So, and sadly, total spendings 4.7, total income 4.4. So this time around, first time, we actually lost some currency with this gamble. Oh no, divided by 187, which is today's Exalt exchange ratio. We lost about 1.65 Exalts in the matter of these 60 maps. First time I'm actually making a loss with these maps. But still 1.6 Exalts for 3 levels. I think this is still better currency invested than joining some pure rotors or something. And in the end, in 4 times is the first time I'm actually getting out quite even. So I would still really recommend running these maps. They're super nice to do. Can bring a lot of profit on top of that. And overall, there is no delirium, you know? You basically cannot really die in this map unless you run the one with the golem dude and they have some very bad modifiers. Alright, there is only one single, one single map left, and this is the Cortex. The Cortex overall, I have some over here, but this is a spoiler for another gambling here. Just don't look at it, don't look at it. Just let me get out this Cortex map so I can see. Oh, there it is. Oh, there's a weird tab here. So we have the Cortex map, is a relic chamber, and they go for about 6.5 exalts. That would basically mean 60 times 6.5. About 390 exalts investment to get 60 Cortex maps going. So this is going to take a while. I still probably have to finish this character. I will bring you the build guide of that one as well as on the other characters that I'm playing. Once I finish it with the glove craft, the amulet and stuff. And once this is done, I try to like really sell every build that I have, from the Rocky Firebower build to the volatile Pulsar Slinger and everything I have. And then try to make this gamble possible as well. And then I still have to level up a character that can do the Cortex maps on top of that. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.